So Gordon Hayward's hurt again, and I just kind of want to be an upset Celtics fan for a little bit. People seem to enjoy when I put the X's and O's to the side a little bit and just kind of rant about crap sometimes. Most recent example probably being the Thibodeau video, whatever. Or not Thibodeau, Boylan. What the hell, man? Was Gordon Hayward's contract built on an Indian burial ground? Have I used that joke before? I don't know. He sprained his ankle. It's like a grade 3, which means there's ligaments and they're torn, and he's probably out for the whole playoffs. That's what I've seen. Because expected is what, 4 weeks? Which right then and there, like, good lord. Even if it's 3 weeks or 2 weeks, that's still huge. I mean, the thing about it with Hayward that's so frustrating too is that none of these injuries have anything to do with each other. They're all freak injuries. Like, he snaps his leg going for an alley-oop 5 minutes into the first game that they have him. And then eventually, that whole spiel happened for 2 years. And then he, breaks his wrist running into a LaMarcus Aldridge screen or whatever it is. And then last night he rolls his ankle. And it's the opposite ankle. It's like, he's not even injury prone. He's just extremely unlucky. I mean, it would be another thing if he had some chronic knee or shoulder thing or something. It's like, oh, well, that's a thing again. No, this is a perfectly healthy guy who barely missed any time in his NBA career. The Celtics give him a whole bunch of money, and then the basketball gods are just like, we don't approve. 2 years gone. Oh, you're finally back? Well, now you're not in for the playoffs. Gordon Hayward has basically never played for the Celtics. I mean, technically speaking, he's played 125 games for them or something, but really, they've never had Gordon Hayward. I mean, the closest thing they had to him was the 50 games he played this year, with which he was pretty damn good. 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, good defender, 60% true shooting, good guy. But in the grand scheme of all of it, it doesn't totally matter if you're not out there for the playoffs. And I think about what could have been if Hayward had never gotten hurt. I mean, in that first season, if Hayward doesn't snap his leg, do they make the finals? I'm going to go with no, because I think LeBron still beats him. But still, they would have had a better chance if he and Kyrie were healthy, then who knows. As far as the disastrous 2019 Boston Celtics, who won 49 games, do I think a healthy Hayward could have fixed everything? I mean, maybe. He was basically one of the worst players in the league for a decent chunk of that season, and he was playing a lot of minutes, so if you replace that with what they got this year out of him, perhaps that could have been a different story. And then once all of this is done, we go into next season, and Hayward's got a player option. I hope he accepts it, because he's a good player. And it's like, what else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just assume that another freak injury happens? Again, this is not like a matter of, well, he's 33 and he's had the same knee problems for 4 years. What's going to happen next year? Is he just going to dislocate a finger the second game of the season? He comes back. How long does it take when to dislocate a finger? It might be 4 games. Then he comes back and then another rolled ankle. And then he comes back again, and this time his ear gets ripped off. At this point, you could convince me of anything with Gordon Hayward getting hurt out of nowhere. I mean, for the sake of Hayward's well-being, I kind of want him not on the Celtics, because I think for some reason he's just cursed. Gordon Hayward puts on a Celtics jersey, and that's it. Some dark power is just no, this isn't going to fly. You've got to go somewhere else. It's so frustrating, man. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is for your favorite team. Well, some people may relate to this, depending on what team you're a fan of, but you sign a 26-year-old all-star who just averaged 22 a game after scoring a whole bunch of points against the Warriors in that one playoff series, creating his own shot, being able to play off the ball, knowing that he's got a good relationship with Brad Stevens, and then his ankle snaps in two in the first game he plays with you, and then the next season is a wash because he takes the whole time to come back, and then everything that happened. In the grand scheme of things, it ain't that bad. Okay. There's people who, need food and stuff. Anyway, we can do the X's and O's a little bit now. Can they beat Philly? Yeah. I mean, Marcus Smart will start over Hayward. Marcus Smart was basically the starter all year anyway, because the Celtics managed to have somebody miss basically every game. And, I mean, you imagine Philly dares Marcus Smart to take some shots, and he took one pretty bad three against them last night, and overall, I think it'll be alright. Can they beat the Raptors without Hayward? That's a tough one. I mean, I think the strength of the Celtics and what would have made them tough to defend is they just would have had so many guys that you had to worry about, you know? You know, like it's a Tatum drive, and then you got to bring help on him, so you leave Hayward open, but now Hayward can go off the dribble, you go to him, Jalen's now got it. Like, eventually there's just too much talent to deal with. Too many guys who can go off the dribble and make a shot, who also have good size and can get to the free throw line. Granted, Hayward wasn't shooting a million free throws this year, but without all that, it's just going to be tough. And, I mean, I wasn't confident in their ability to beat the Raptors without Hayward. Granted, Marcus Smart creates a whole new dynamic since he's going to be playing a lot more minutes now. This also means that between Semi Ojeleye and Grant Williams and whoever else, they're going to get some more minutes, and I am not going to be a fan of that at all. So that's going to be tough, but they got to get through Philly first, and I guess when it comes to the future of Hayward on the Celtics, I mean, he does have the player option. He's not going to make as much money as the $34 million, I think it is, if he accepts, but maybe at this point Hayward would want more of a guaranteed long contract, you know, because, I mean, once you've been hurt as many times as he has now, like, maybe you'll be willing to sacrifice a little bit of money in the moment for guarantee that you're going to have a contract for the next however long, and there's a chance that that is still for the Celtics. I don't think it's a guarantee that Hayward's not on this team, especially if he would be willing to take less money, which I don't know if he would. And I'm sure there's some morality thing about guy gets hurt and now has to take less money, but that's the reality of what we're doing here. I don't know. I mean, if Hayward's on the open market, teams will still definitely be interested in the guy. And as far as who would be a good team for him, I mean, kind of anyone. Like, he's tall, is a good defender, he can dribble, he can shoot, and he's okay with not having the ball every possession. So he's a good fit basically anywhere. But that's it. I'm just mad. I'm not mad at anyone in particular. It's, you know, again, Hayward's in great shape. He just keeps getting really stupid, unlucky injuries that have nothing to do with each other.